Kishimoto could have planned 2 children of prophecy about 2 blue vortex, and you won't believe who the second person is. Apart from a number of hints within the story, the title of the time skip could itself be a hint at the identity of this other child of prophecy. So as you may have guessed by the thumbnail, the person who would walk down a prophetic fate alongside Boruto could be none other than Akebi Sanzu. Shout out to Dorian Muzon for sending me the original ideas of this theory, and as we dive into the clues behind their connection and destined role, from their ties to a legendary character to the synchronization of the sacred genes, be sure to brace up, as this revelation might even change the way you see the entire series. So if you are excited for this wild journey, don't forget to hit that sub button for more top tier Boruto content. A thing which is pretty obvious at this point is that Boruto has been recycling or doubling down on the plot points from the original series. Like the whole Naruto and Kurama narrative was recycled as Boruto and Momoshiki, the twist being the prodigy can neither befriend nor use the powers of the monster in his favor. Or if we look at the life goals of the father-son duo, Naruto wanted to be the Hokage from the very beginning, and he eventually succeeded as well. But Boruto's ambition was to walk down a path different than his parent, and that's what gave him a more important role in the story. Similarly, while Jiraiya's mission was to find the child of prophecy in Naruto, in Boruto we got to see his clone Kashin Koji obtaining the power of absolute future sight, which allows him to dramatically impact the course of history. He went from following a prophecy to literally becoming the master of all prophecies. A thing you may have noticed about Kashin Koji is that he hasn't warned Boruto about the plans of Amado so far, and since there's a good chance for his innocence to be fake, it's kinda hard to believe that Akebi's revival would not produce some Otsutsuki level threat. Even Kawaki knows this, and he's ready to kill Akebi if anything like that happens, but Amado will not hold back, as he has already made this clear to Boruto. So one of the reasons which might explain why Kashin Koji is not worried about Akebi's revival could be because she's a part of some important prophecy alongside Boruto. As I said earlier, the show is called 2 Blue Vortex, and if there was just a single child of prophecy in the original series, I won't be surprised if we get 2 of them this time, and this is where things get interesting. The writers have been building some strong parallels between the parent-child duo, and it only gets crazier with every new hint. It all started with this panel where Amado tells Naruto that he can feel him, as he had a daughter who passed away 12 years ago. At first it may seem like a setup to the introduction of Akebi, but if you think about it, Amado and Naruto are closely tied to a person who acted like a symbol of fate in the series. I'm talking about Jiraiya, and how he was on a fateful quest to find the child of prophecy. The great Toad Sage foretold him that he would one day train a student who would either bring great peace to the world or plunge it into destruction. And there were several disciples whom he found promising, but he eventually landed upon Naruto, who seems to have fulfilled what the Toad Sage had prophesied. But now that we have a sequel, it's possible the prophecy has evolved, taking on a dual nature. It all sums up to the cryptic title of 2 Blue Vortex, but let's keep the most sensible thing for the later part of the video. Before exploring the role of Amado to bring forth the second child of prophecy, we will need to understand how the original prophecy could have changed. Back in chapter 13, Kashin Koji revealed the concept of singularities, the people possessing the power to change the future in whatever means they desire. They hold a lot of weight on the spectrum of fate, and their actions could determine how the future will turn out to be. Right now we have 3 people who hold this power, but I really believe there is another person who's responsible for every dark outcome in the present timeline. I'm talking about Momoshiki, the secret singularity who provoked Kawaki, led to omnipotence, and now we are left with not 1 but 4 such people who hold this power over fate. I even believe that Boruto was made a singularity after the Blue Eyes prophecy in chapter 10, and the steps taken by Momoshiki using his vessel's body count as Boruto's individual actions. So in one way or another, the protagonist himself changed the future by getting implanted with the karma. This could have also affected the ages-long prophecy of Toad Sage, particularly because Jiraiya faced a rebirth as well. But how exactly do Akebi and Amado tie into this? So here we have the point that I don't see anyone bring up ever since it was revealed that Kashin Koji is the clone of Jiraiya. How did Amado find the remains of the Sanin? Or let's change the question to what relationship did he share with him? Jiraiya's body was shown sinking into a deep body of water after his battle with Pain. During the 4th Great Ninja War, Kabuto confirmed that he couldn't retrieve Jiraiya's body for DNA sampling cause the lake near Amagakure was too deep to reach. So since Kabuto couldn't find his body, could it be that Amado found it first? Koji seems to be around the scientist for a very long time, and the numerical on his face indicates indicates that he was the second cyborg made by Amado. This means he had to obtain the remains of Jiraiya somehow after creating Delta just to make a clone out of them. But if you think about it, it won't make sense for him to randomly search in some deep lake and get his hands on the remains of Jiraiya. So what if the reality behind the creation of Kashin Koji is more perplexing than that? What if Amado already had some DNA sample of Jiraiya just because he knew him in the past? Their relationship could be anything from mentorship to friendship, and there are several hints which indicate a connection between the two. Take a look at these two images. Here you can see the scroll bag of Naruto having an exact white spot as Amado's bag, and while this could be taken as a normal design preference of the animators or the mangaka, looking at the whole Jiraiya connection that Amado could be hiding, it could be a deliberate detail added by the makers to hint at Amado's fateful connection with Naruto. So far some things are crystal clear. Both of them were prodigies with immense potential, they share a connection to Jiraiya, and they have even gone through the pain of losing a child. And while Naruto was a part of a huge prophecy, Amado was responsible for creating a being who's now changing the course of history altogether. But what if all these hints are pushing them both into a more refined prophetic narrative? Could it be that they both are now parents to the next children of prophecy in Two Blue Vortex? The theory emerges from this panel where Boruto points out him being born around the same time when Akebi died. At first it may not appear that significant, but the theory that I have came up with will completely blow your mind, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. So far many predictions have been made about Boruto by different people. Toneri revealed him as the dispeller of darkness, the one whose eye will guide him into fixing the future. Moreover, his Jogan was said to be the star of hope, meaning that it will appear when all the other hope is gone. Then we have Momoshiki, who said he would lose everything through some blue eyes, and that's exactly what happened when omnipotence happened. Boruto lost his identity, but somehow managed to stay vigilant. Then we have Kashin Koji, who has predicted the worst possible future, where the prodigy gets killed by Jura, but he still has some hope as he can divert the events into his favor with the help of all the singularities. Moreover, in chapter 13, Jura hinted at Shibai protecting Boruto from the heavens through some divine intervention, and all of it indicates at him being the new child of prophecy, but on a godly, divine and universal level. The Jogan confirms Boruto has inherited the essence of Shibai, and the shape of the Jogan looks like a full moon, while Daemon and Eida's dojutsu appear to be a half moon and a crescent. Now this is where the whole Amado part kicks in. As seen in the hypothetical Otsutsuki god panel, the Jogan seems to be unlocked by a deity once he reaches the higher dimension, leaving his mortal body behind. This means if someone tries to use the Shibai cells to replicate the Jogan, he would fail miserably, as the power requires one to ascend from the mortal realm altogether. So Boruto having the Jogan means that it's the direct will of Shibai who had ascended to godhood, and the cyborgs of Amado will only have the powers that Shibai had before ascension. But the case of Akebi is kinda different, and she could actually attain most of the essence of Shibai or Otsutsuki for a few solid reasons. While the medium of transplantation for the Shibai cells in case of the other cyborgs were basically scientific experiments, in Akebi's case it's the replica of the Kama seal, the same seal that Otsutsuki is used to resurrect and immortalize themselves. So either the Kama of Kawaki has Shibai cells implanted that would not only Otsutsukify Akebi but would also make her a strong godlike individual. But there is another possibility which is more believable in this case, which says that Akebi's body could be made out of the remnants of Shibai's corpse, and after her revival, it is very much possible that both Boruto and her would stand on the same level of divine essence. The only difference would be that Boruto would be a natural, while the divine essence of Akebi would be artificial, and this mystical fusion of both the characters would push them into a divine narrative, with Boruto being chosen by the Otsutsuki god himself, and Akebi being an amalgamation of the Shibai remains. Now talking about the connection of all this to Two Blue Vortex, I think the eyes of Delta are likely different than the natural eyes of Akebi, since the ones used by her are scientific ninja tech. So we can expect the real Akebi to have pure blue eyes, just like Boruto. Assuming she ends up becoming a vital part of the story, then it can be concluded that the title was a reference to both of them. And as for why Kashin Koji did not see a future with Akebi or warned Boruto about Amado's plans, well, it could either be due to the fact that Akebi would join the good guys, or simply because the genes of Shibai are subconsciously preventing Koji from taking that possibility into consideration. All in all, the story might revolve around the pure manifestation of Shibai's will and the mortal embodiment of his divine remains. So what could be the significance of this panel in between all this? Was it just a foreshadowing of the two prophecy children, or did something happen during the death of Akebi which triggered the birth of Boruto? Well, I think the secret behind this is hidden within the number of years between both these events. The number 12 holds some symbolic weight in Japanese culture and storytelling, often representing cycles, rebirth and cosmic order. An example to understand this better comes from the Chinese zodiac zodiac, which operates on a 12-year cycle and is widely used in Japan. This cyclical nature suggests that Akebi's failed attempt to replicate Shibai's essence not only led to her demise, but also set the stage for the birth of a prodigy destined to inherit the true divine essence. You can watch these videos for more divine theories. Also comment down your best takes to get featured in my upcoming videos. I will see you next time.